Alright, bookworms and constant readers, welcome back to Final Girl Horror. I'm Chelsea, and today we are doing another book review. This is film number 32 on the list of the 1001 movies you must see before you die. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a link up here, talk about what this book is, where you can find it. You can see the review on that, and you can see my other movie reviews. As I say in front of every one of these videos, these films are not ranked. This book starts at 1900, it goes to 2020, and year by year they list some of the best films that they think you should see before you die. We are still in the A's. And film number 32 is a film from 1950 called All About Eve. It is 2 hours and 18 minutes long. It is a black and white film. The only way I found for you to watch this is on Apple, and it's either $14 or $15.99. So I had to buy this one. It is directed by Joseph Markowitz, I think is how you say his name. The only movie that I seen on his list of stuff that I knew about was 1963's Cleopatra. I think that has got Elizabeth Taylor in it. Again, this is a movie that's way before my time, so I don't know any of these actors. One actor I have heard of, but I haven't seen any of her films, is the star of the movie, Bette Davis. She plays Margot, but again, I didn't recognize any of her films. Then you have Anne... I think you say her last name, Bauder. I could be wrong about that, but she plays Eve. She's done a lot of these actors have done a ton of TV shows in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. The only movie of hers I recognized was from 1956, The Ten Commandments. George Sanders plays Addison. Celeste Holm plays Karen, Gary Merrill plays Bill, and Hugh Marlowe plays Lloyd. Now, this film was nominated for 14 Academy Awards, and it won 6 of them. It won for Best Actor, George Sanders, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Costume Design for a Black and White Film, Best Sound, and it also won Best Picture at the 1951 Oscars. So what is it about? Okay, this movie is really, really good, and if they would have added like a murder element to this, it totally would have been a horror film. And I think that's why I liked it so much. Because it was so close to being a horror film. It's not quite a thriller, but it is so good. So there's this girl, Eve, who hangs out at this theater, and she has like attended every single showing of this play. And this lady shows up at the theater and is looking for her, doesn't see her, and then she appears in this back alley, and this lady, Karen, invites her backstage to meet the star of the play, Margot. And when they meet, she meets like the whole cast of Friends, which is this really tight cast in a movie. So she doesn't meet Addison, until later. But she meets Bill and she meets Lloyd. Um, Bill is with Margot and Lloyd is Karen's husband. This is important later. They are all talking and they get to hear this sad sob story from Eve about how she was married and her husband died and she's always been in love with the theater, blah, blah, blah. Well, Margot gets attached to Eve, and Margot's maid, who is also there, is like, this girl is like just full of shit. She even makes a comment, and everybody like loses their shit over it, and tells her like how rude she is. And she half-heartedly apologizes, but eventually Margot hires Eve as an assistant. And as the movie goes on, you start to realize something ain't right with Eve, because Eve is not working for Margot. She is like studying her to become her. And the maid sees right through this and tries to warn Margot time and time again. And by the time Margot sees it, it's too late. And so now there's animosity between the friends and Eve. And that's about all I can tell you, because the ending, all of this leads up to a very climactic ending that I think if you pay attention, you see it coming, but not quite the way that they do it in the film. It's a great movie. Like, I really loved it. The only thing I thought was missing was I wish they would have put some kind of like murder element to it. Like Eve was like poisoning Margot or something, just to give it that horror vibe that I think the movie was missing. It's a great film, though. I would have never watched this movie if it wasn't for this book. It's one of those that I really enjoyed, and if it wasn't for this book, I would have never seen this film. I never heard of this film before. And surprisingly, getting to wrapping this video up with the horror connections like we always do, there is a bunch of horror / sci-fi connections. Because keep in mind, a lot of these science fiction movies from the 50s and 60s were just horror movies in disguise. So, Bette Davis, in 1962, she was in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. In 64, she was in a movie called Hush Hush, Sweet Caroline. And, let's see, I can't read this. In 73, she was in Scream Pretty Peggy. In 65, she was in The Nanny. In 76, Burnt Offerings. In 78, Return to Witch Mountain. In 1980, The Watcher in the Woods. And I think her name is Baxter, who played Eve, was in 1970's Ritual of Evil, and then in 1944 played a Guest in the House. George Sanders is probably the most famous horror movie I'm going to mention. I don't remember him from this film. I have seen this film, but I don't remember him. Village of the Damned from 1960, and then in 1944 he was in another horror film called The Lodger. Gary Merrill In 1951 was in Another Man's Poison. In 1965 was in Catacombs, also known as The Woman Who Wouldn't Die. Hugh Marlowe. This is another one. It's a huge sci-fi film. I guess you could consider it a horror movie. But I don't remember him in this movie, and I've seen this movie hundreds of times. Hugh Marlowe in 1951 was in The Day the Earth Stood Still. In 56, Earth versus the Flying Saucers. Also in 56, World Without End. And in 63, 13 Frightened Girls. And Castle of Evil. And one thing I forgot to mention, going back to what the movie is about and how the husband and the boyfriends matter. And this is where Addison comes into play. Addison is a big time like producer, talent scout. And Eve tries to seduce Bill, and Addison sees it. And then later in the film, she seduces Lloyd, who is Karen's husband, and he is going to leave Karen and marry her, and Addison steps in and basically tells Eve that's not happening because I own you. And that leads up to this climactic ending. I totally forgot that and left that out. I give this one 4.5 stars out of 5. It was really good. I think the only thing missing was it needed that horror element to it. I thought that was missing. The next film, we're going out of order because I don't own the next few films. So we will come back to those whenever I do get them. That's all I got for you in this video. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. Hit that like button. It helps the channel. Hit the bell icon so you know when new videos come out. And until next time, watch more movies and read more books.